We're finally done with our demolition.
We just finished a big step in converting our 1996 MCI D3 51-seat passenger bus into an off-grid tiny home on wheels.
If you've been following our videos, you'll know that it was a long, tough job working on this demolition.
Each step, I'm like, oh, this is the worst thing we've done so far. And then literally the next day, I'm like, this is the worst thing.
And we learned a lot.
We've used a lot of this citrus strip, and we've learned a lot about it. And so we thought we would share with you the things we wish we knew before we started our bus demolition. This is Mella.
This is done.
And we're sharing our experience as we reinvent our habitat. There were a lot of tools we used for the demolition. Some worked great, some not so helpful, but here's some of the ones that made a huge difference on trying to tear everything out of the bus.
We used the shop vac just about every single day. We couldn't believe how we had to constantly clean.
Very helpful and a joy to use. The angle grinder was such a help to not only cut away metal that we wanted to remove from the bus, but also to grind out some of the rust areas. My uncle stopped by, peeked in, and made a suggestion on what might work better than one multi-tool, two multi-tools.
The multi-tool, just like its name, it has multiple uses, and we did use it a lot.
And we used a lot of brute force. A hammer and chisel came in infinitely handy in trying to remove rivets. We wanted to stay safe while we were doing the demolition.
When pulling fiberglass down from the ceiling, you want proper protection.
We used goggles and glasses to protect our eyes from flying objects.
And we went through gloves. Lots and lots of gloves.
There's a lot of debris floating around, so we used masks almost daily and respirators when needed for jobs like spraying the Rust-Oleum.
Just like gloves, we went through a lot of clothes, or at least I went through a lot of clothes. I'm down to one good pair of shorts and 2 pairs of pants. We learned really quickly not to wear any clothes that you didn't want to risk having destroyed.
We also needed ear protection and knee pads.
Another thing I didn't really think about, but I started doing a lot more Pilates, inspired by Mella here.
The demolition was really tough work on our bodies, and I bet if we hadn't been doing Pilates the whole time, we would have been in a lot worse shape. Everything takes much longer than you think. We had a goal to try and finish the whole bus build in about 6 months. And about 3 months into it, we realized this is completely unrealistic. Things slowed us down, like the weather.
Today was a tough one. It was really, really hot.
The heat of summer and the crazy humidity here made it really tough to spend a long time inside of the bus. Often the rain would be an issue for us too, and I'm sure as we move into winter we're going to experience some similar weather issues.
We also didn't realize how much time it takes to make videos like we wanted to. We spend just about as much time here trying to get the videos ready as we do in the bus. If you're watching the videos in series, they're coming out a couple months after we finish them because we just simply don't have the time or capacity to finish the videos as we finish doing the work on the bus, which is why we started a Patreon. If you join our Rehabit Tribe on Patreon, you'll get access to exclusive content. You'll be able to see the videos pre-release to the public and a way for us to interact as a community. We'll be sure to include a link to that below if you'd like to support us and help us continue to create videos as we do our build.
I've seen a lot of couples who build their own home go through a lot of strain and have their relationship really tested by the build. And this is no different, especially when you're doing it all yourself. It definitely put some strain on our relationship, and we weren't always our best selves when you're working in tough conditions.
Luckily, the challenges of the project brought us even closer together. As we mentioned, we decided to get married while we've been working on the bus. And I guess the old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, is definitely the case for our bus demo.
We created a budget based on what we had learned from other couples who were converting Skoolies. We have already spent 50% of that budget and we haven't actually started to build anything yet. As we go, we're learning that everything costs more than you expect, especially with some of the choices we've made. For example, we chose to go with this MCI bus rather than a Skoolie.
Yeah, one of the things we kept doing research around originally was a school bus, and you can find those from $3,500 at auctions to $8,000. But the more we looked into buses, the more bus people and mechanics I talked to, there was no doubt that this was going to be the right bus for us, which was considerably more expensive. I understand now why contractors have an overage, which is a percentage of your budget set aside just in case things go over. And I'm not going to be surprised if we go over 25 or 40% on our budget. Even though at this point our channel here is just starting to blossom into what we hope it can grow to be, we've gotten a lot of helpful comments and even some extremely helpful suggestions. We had some questions about our air lock system for our luggage bays, and even had somebody comment in for a way that we may be able to get those to work for us long term. As we prepped for the build, we got some pretty helpful advice on what kind of glue we should use for putting our floors down. So all of those things have been extremely helpful.
I think community is really, really important, and the support that we've been receiving from this community has been awesome. So if you have any suggestions as you watch our videos and you're like, oh, you guys should do this, please do comment below. We love it. We want to hear your suggestions and your advice, especially if you've done this thing before, because we don't know what we're doing, but we're trying hard. Likewise, if we aren't answering some questions that you have, please do also comment and we will gladly respond and answer to the best of our ability.
A while back, we showed all the aluminum and stainless steel we pulled out of the bus and thought it would be fun to ask how much we would get when we recycled that metal.
And we haven't recycled it yet because we started to realize that we could actually probably reuse some of it in our build. We're going to hold off for now and we will let you know when we decide to recycle, and we'll ask you again.
In the next video, I'm going to take you on a little hike with us.
And we'll answer some of the frequently asked questions that we've been receiving.